I had been warned by a very wise man, a teacher in my high school. He used to coach us all the time about how hard, frankly, the freshman year of college is. He's like, the freshman year of college is designed to root out those who can take it and those who can't take it. And so I came in with this mindset of ready for that. I hit the ground with my feet running. But all through my life, I sort of had I kind of edged on a video game addiction. Like when I played World of Warcraft, for example, there were tasks that you did every day, and people literally called them dailies. I had this unfulfilled feeling in me if I didn't accomplish those tasks. It was a source of pride. I actually had people who were impressed with how good I was at video games. It's been 6 years at least. I know I could go back. There would still be some of those old people playing, and they would be ecstatic to see me, and they'd still tell stories about me and some of the stuff I did. You get a lot of affirmation from video games. You accomplish a task, and stars and bells go off, and there's light flashes, and there's a sound effect, and you get a little item. You play with people, so that it feels like there's the sense of community, and so there was respect, there was responsibilities because there were things you had to do. There was all of this, a feeling and satisfaction I got, and yet in all of that there was this feeling of hopelessness all the time, and it was this tangible feeling. And so anyways, you fill out a form if you don't know anybody at college to get a roommate, to just apply for one randomly, and they did it based on interest. So they said, what are you interested in? One of them was video games. So I checked the box because I'm well, at least I'll have something to talk about. And I thought later, I was I wonder if they're gonna put me with somebody who still plays video games. That wouldn't be good. And I felt like God was tugging me to actually go back and change it. I'm God, I don't even know where it's not like you're gonna have that form somewhere on the internet. You're arguing with God. You've got better ideas than his advice. And so I never did it. I remember the roommate calling me up. He's well, I'm bringing my TV and my PlayStation 2. And I was actually, I kind of have a history with video games. It's kind of addictive, and I would prefer if that just wasn't in the dorm room. And he's oh, no, no, I need my video games. So he brought them, and I start playing video games. College starts, and I'm working my butt off. I had straight A's, even in the subjects I'm not good at. God was blessing me, and I was working hard. So I start playing video games. So I start playing it till 11 at night, and then 12:30, and then 1, and then 2, and then next thing you know, I'm staying up till 4 a.m. Next thing you know, I'm staying up till 6, and then 8, and literally the sun is up, my roommate is getting up for the day, and I'm still awake, so I'm saying hi to him as I go to bed. And I remember one particular night, this binging session on video games. I went and had my quiet time after that. It's 8 a.m. Jeremiah was a prophet. He had this burning desire that was so strong in him that he couldn't help but obey God. And so I was that's what I need. I need no matter what, I can't disobey God. And this guy sort of sounded attractive to me in my addiction, what was becoming an idol. And I began reading it. It begins saying some pretty intense stuff. And I remember as I was reading it, I knew that God was saying it to me. Then that addiction got worse. I didn't succeed in engineering school. It got worse to the point where I was failing or dropping 2 classes every semester. And by 3 years in, my parents are we're not paying for this. So that was it. It got worse from there. But I sat at home basically for 6 months other than having a job before I started getting into school again. And my outlook on life got pretty bleak. I had saved enough, and I decided to build the ultimate gaming computer. And I built this, monument to gaming that was just, the greatest. And I kept it in my bedroom. And I had a girlfriend that, at one point, she said, look, Nick, you're never gonna break this addiction if you have this in your own house. How are you ever gonna choose to go to bed when the source of your addiction is 8 feet away? So, and I was yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a good point. So the girlfriend was the only one telling me to get rid of the computer. And I did it. I don't know how. I seriously, to this day, I don't know how. I lost a ton of money. Like my dad said, I got $400 for this computer that I had built for $1,700. But it was amazing, the feeling of freedom. I had no idea what to do with my time, by the way. Like I was 20 hours a day I was spending playing World of Warcraft. I didn't know what to do, so I just started reading. And I had to read like adventure books like Lord of the Rings or something because I'd lost the sense of adventure. When you lose that addiction, you have to find ways to to fill those things. When Jesus talks about the demon that like leaves the house, goes around the world, comes back to the same house, sees that it's empty because it hasn't been filled with anything, goes back around the world, gets 7 times as many demons, and comes back, and the person 7 times as bad off. And in this, like it's so true. Like you can't just get rid of something that's evil. You have to fill it, You have to fill it, or you're going to be worse off. Relapsing, in other words, is more destructive than if you just stayed in that addiction. You'll go deeper into that sin, that addiction, that habit, and so that's taken way longer to fill my life with things that are satisfying. It's so hard. The last 5 minutes of going to bed every night, I think, are still that struggle. There's this overwhelming urge to put on a TV or to find something that's like some dopey little competition or like puzzle or something to play. I have come so far. I can literally laugh at the addiction, which is amazing. The opportunities God's created in my life, like I have gone through jobs that have been so hard. I was a sleazy, stereotypical life insurance salesman, and I have backed completely out of that lifestyle, and I have so much joy. I have a job that I get to work running this company where we're meeting needs of inner city kids, which is, of course, that's amazing. This is my dream job. I can't believe I get to do that for a living. And that's come from so much difficulty and like a trail of stuff that only God could have done. I have, this sense of same thing that I once got from video games: competition, purpose, affirmation, and community, except that I'm getting them in ways that I'm in every way free. It's such a lighter feeling. It felt like I always carried around something like on my shoulders, like just this pile of bricks. And now I just feel like I can jump for joy. Jesus Christ is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. It's the best thing ever, knowing Him and being part of His family and being filled with Christ. And I get to speak over people's lives. I get to share with them like truth into their lives. You get to look in people's eyes and you get to tell them that you love them and you truly mean that, people you've just met. And it's to have a purpose that is profound and real and significant is great.